Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our daily agenda. This is our daily agenda for Tuesday, May 4th. May the 4th be with you all. So for today, we are getting into our poetry. Just gentle reminders, today's events, and then we will be having map testing next week. So May 7th, not May 7th, I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. This is May 6th, not 16th, May 10th. From then on, we will be having map testing. So for today, what you guys need to do or need to focus on is poetry terms. We're going to start getting into what is rhyming or what are some stanzas. I'm going to ask you guys briefly what are some poetry terms you guys are familiar with. Some of the terms that we will talk about today, you should be familiar with them or you've seen them before, so we are just going to get into them. So let's start with the first one, verse. A verse is a single line of poetry. It can have rhyme or rhythm in the line, but it's just one line of poetry. Super, super simple. So in this poem, this is just to say, can anybody identify a verse? And in class, we will talk a little bit about it. This right here alone is a verse. Just that first line, that I have eaten. So I want you guys, when we are talking about poetry, to know that when you are talking about a specific line of poetry, that it is called a verse. So I will ask you guys maybe, what was your favorite verse in this poem? And maybe your favorite verse in the poem is forgive me, or they were delicious. So I just want to get you guys a little bit more used to those poetry terms. Our second term is stanza. So a stanza is a group of lines or verses. We just learned what are verses in a poem. This can usually be comprised of maybe 4 to 5 stanzas usually. So in this poem, The Road Not Taken, it looks like a little paragraph, but really each little stanza, I'm going to use that word now, each one of these is a stanza. And then there are 4 stanzas in this poem. Right behind this poem, I have hiding, ta-da, nothing gold can stay. And I want you guys to identify how many stanzas are in this poem and how many verses are in this poem. So we will be having a kind of a big discussion today on these. Our next one is metaphor. So metaphor, you guys should be extremely familiar with at this point. I'm not going to spend too much time. It is a direct comparison of 2 unlike things. So 2 things that would normally not necessarily be compared. It's not literally true, but it can help explain an idea or make a comparison. So I can say he is a shining star. The boy is not literally a star, but he is maybe doing well. Why would we call somebody a star? Because they are doing well. If I say her hair was a golden river, is her hair actually a river? Is the river actually made out of gold? No, but what does that say about her if she has a golden river? And if I say he is like homework, or not he is like homework, he is homework. Maybe he's not the most fun person to be around. So these are some comparisons we will make with metaphors. Extended metaphor. So you have to understand, ladies and gentlemen, what that metaphor is. One more time. Metaphor, a regular one, it's a direct comparison of 2 unlike things. Now, you're making that metaphor longer over a poem, over multiple verses or stanzas in a poem. So one more time, how many stanzas is this poem? This poem would be 1 stanza, but it would have 1, 2, 3, 4 verses. See, the only reason it looks like 5 is because I haven't stretched it out appropriately. There you go, now it's 4 verses. So in this poem, the night is a black cat. The night is a black cat, the moon is her topaz eye, not it. The stars are the mice she hunts at night in the field of the sultry sky. So in this poem alone, the metaphor is that the night, it's a black cat. Do we normally compare the night to a black cat, a big black cat? No. And what are some of those other qualities, some of those metaphors that are even inside the poem? See, the fact that it continues in each line, it's saying a big black cat is the night. The moon is her topaz eye. We're continuing it. Now we're describing it. The stars are the mice because cats hunt mice. in the field of the sultry sky. So the sky is now a field. So there's metaphors in each and every single line. All right, moving on to the next one. Allusion. It is a indirect reference to a person, place, or thing of idea or historical or cultural importance. This one might be a little bit hard to think about when I just give you a definition like that. So it's an indirect reference. So some examples include if I say, you're acting like such a Grinch. What's the Grinch, ladies and gentlemen? Explain it to me. And the Grinch, most of you will most likely reply that the Grinch is from the movie The Grinch Stole Christmas. It's someone who's not necessarily the most happy, might be kind of grouchy. So if I say a person is being like this being that we all know, then that's an illusion. This is a little bit different from metaphor. Metaphor is just a thing you're comparing it to. Illusion is that you're referring to something. So you have to refer to like a person, a place, or a thing. If I say you're acting like George Washington, that's a real person. If I say your smile is like the Mona Lisa, if you know what the Mona Lisa is, you know what her smile looks like. So, kind of going along with that, I was surprised his nose was not growing like Pinocchio's. Who is Pinocchio? We know his story. We know that when he lies, his nose grows really long. So, by taking that, we know that that this boy or this person is lying because we know the story of Pinocchio. So, this sentence alluded to the story of Pinocchio. Snowbound by John Greenleaf Whittier. So, a tunnel walled and overlaid with dazzling crystal. We had read of rare Aladdin's wondrous cave, and to our own his name we gave. What is the allusion here, ladies and gentlemen? The allusion here is Aladdin's wondrous cave. If you remember the movie, there is that cave of wonders. Well, now they're saying it's here. It's Aladdin's because it's from that story, that movie. So if Aladdin's cave, what do we remember? It had riches and treasures and all these wonderful things. Then this cave that these people found, it's just like that. But they are alluding to, or they are referring to this. All right? So there are some real world allusions that you can also make that go back to people, things that we see in our world. So, like I could say that the stairways at Mendes are like the streets of New York. Streets of New York are a real place here in our world. And what are the streets of New York? Usually New York is busy, it's full. So if I say the staircase at Mendes is like the streets of New York, the allusion tells you that indirect reference. I'm not telling you the stairs are full and busy. I'm just telling you that they look like the streets of New York. Okay? All right. Let's go a little bit deeper. Personification. Personification is giving human characteristics to something that's not human, such as an animal or an object. This one's really simple. A lot of people have fun with this one. So, for example, it's spring and the garden is changing its clothes. Can the garden actually change its clothes? No, ladies and gentlemen. It cannot put away its dark winter suits. Spring does not have actual suits. It does not have dull scarves and drab brown overcoats. Spring is not an actual person. But in this poem, in this poem, John Foster is giving this human quality to something that is not human. So you could do this to dogs because they're not human. Remember, an animal or an object. You could do this to trees. Somebody's doing it to spring. You can do it to your laptop, your phone. You could say, my phone died, and with its last beat, it gave out. Saying that your phone died, that's a human quality, ladies and gentlemen. We're surrounded by personification. Sometimes we just don't realize it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to leave off here. We're going to do the rest of the terms tomorrow, but these were our first terms for our first day. I'm going to show you what to do for our poetry notebook. So for our poetry notebook, you are going to have these terms: verse, stanza, metaphor, extended metaphor, allusion, and personification, which is what we will be doing today, or we're going to try to get there. You will have to include a definition. You can include my definition if you would like. That's fine. A sentence using this word. So for personification, you would have to use an actual sentence that is personification. So you can say, in poetry, there is often, if I can spell often correctly, often personification. Man, you guys made a sentence. Make sure it's a complete sentence. All right. Your own example. So you need to actually use personification for this. So for this, you would have to say, you would have to give, oh, I already gave you guys, my phone died. We're giving the phone a little bit of a human quality by saying my phone died. And then an image. So if personification, you can go on Google, see what you can find for personification. What I would do is something like a tree with a suit, if you're thinking about that poem. You can do an animal shaking your hand, something that gives a human quality. So love, happiness, putting on clothes, brushing your teeth. Those are things we do as humans to something that's not a human. All right? So it's just an example with personification. We will go over this in class as well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is a long video. So if you have any questions or need more help, reach out to me, reach out to Ms. Reyes, or reach out to Ms. Arroyo, and we'll help you guys out. Other than that, I'll see you guys in class.